Okay, so I'll be with you in a second. I'm just reading this latest issue of Cosmopolitan magazine, and here's the best part of Cosmopolitan magazine, is that no matter what you read and no matter what month, week, year it is, there is no one that you are not attracting by one of these awesome headlines. Like, you deserve better sex. You'll never fake it again. And you're like, what could be more interesting than that? Well, how about this? Feed your cravings and still lose weight. Like, that's amazing. Even if there's nothing in here but blank pages, I would buy this magazine, Marina, because of score a job you'll really love. I would like a job that I really love. And last but not least, perfect skin, gorgeous hair.
I mean,
what?
It's working.
This is Marina Kadeko, and you are the deputy editor of Cosmopolitan magazine?
Yes.
So I come from a world of television. That could be like president of the world to me. I don't really know what that means, but you're president of the world. I figured you were. You had that air to you. It's a longer title. Yeah. It just works better when you hand out business cards, I'm sure.
President.
What does that mean? Do you write stuff? Do you read other people's stuff? Do you get to like slap hands and tell them they didn't write good stuff?
Yes, actually. So
best job ever.
What that means is my job. I oversee the fun stuff in the magazine. So all of the love, relationships, sex, social trends, personal essays by authors. That just means I come up with ideas for what goes in the magazine and assign them to writers and sort of guide the writers through the process. And I also started a series of events called Cocktails with Cosmo, where women come and hang out and meet each other and talk about the state of dating in the world.
Wow, it's an interesting state of dating.
So I have a very fun job, actually.
You really do. Yeah. I feel like, without embarrassing you, you seem really young, but this isn't the first magazine you've worked at. You've worked at, or written for 318 was my last count.
I've been in magazines for a long time, and I've gotten to write for so many great magazines and work for so many amazing magazines as well, and it's all I ever wanted to do as a kid is work at magazines. So
what does that mean?
Yeah.
I don't remember the first time you even read a magazine.
I do. I mean, I remember reading them in middle school.
Highlight? Was it Highlight magazine? That was the only one I read. Remember Highlight?
I do remember Highlights at the doctor's office.
Yes, they always have them there.
And they had the puzzles and the games. You need to identify. Yes, Highlights. Actually, you're right. That was my first magazine at the doctor's office.
Who's not well read? Who's not well read? That and Judy Blume. I'm like,
I loved
the best. The best.
So my family's Russian. I was born in Russia. We came here when I was 2. My mom was a chemical engineer, so it was like, you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer. Magazines rot your brain. They talk about sex and horrible things that you shouldn't know about, and you're not allowed to read them. So
fast forward 30 years.
Fast forward. So so I traded them with my friends like contraband. I got like life advice from them that I couldn't ask, my family or friends about, and they sort of showed me that there was a world out there outside of suburban Columbus, Ohio, that I could be part of. So one-track mind, majored in magazine journalism, worked at a couple of magazines that are no longer around. My first magazine job was at YN magazine. I don't know if you remember.
Yes.
A teen magazine that I read when I was a kid. So it totally came full circle. Like, I wanted to do for girls and women what magazines had done for me, which was give me advice and sort of pep talks that you can do whatever you want. And, a lot of people haven't read, especially Cosmo lately, but in the last 3 years, we've really focused on making it like super empowering, super interesting, super funny. It's not your mama's Cosmo.
So let's just take a little sort of gallop back on memory lane.
Yeah.
I used to love the really cheesy magazines. Well, only until you started saying YM and what you used to. I used to read like Bop and like Tiger Beat.
Teen magazines.
Those teen magazines.
Teen Beat, Tiger Beat.
Better than Candy.
Oh my God.
When I went to a store, I went right there. Oh my, there's Kirk Cameron, there's Michael J. Fox, there's Ricky Schroeder. I couldn't get enough. I had to have them.
Yes. I know.
With the pinups, remember?
The pinups. They're addictive.
They were so addictive. Do they still make those today? Or kids?
They make a version of those.
Like these?
They make a version of those for sure. I mean, the Justin Biebers of the world have to be on covers of something.
Exactly.
But with the internet, kids can also get all the information they want.
The internet. Always forgot about the World Wide Web.
No. So they do definitely make those celebrity candy magazines.
So now when did you get to Cosmo?
About 3 years ago.
And you knew that this is it. Like it was a difference.
It's
a different
dream job.
Tell me why.
It's a total dream job. Well, a new editor-in-chief had come on named Joanna Coles, who was a dynamo, and she's amazing. And she hired me, and I just knew that I wanted to work with her. And it's sort of like she hires the people she wants and lets them do good work. And the mission is something that we're all so behind. Like, we want, like, my favorite thing to do in a big magazine as big as Cosmo is just sneak in little subversive messages. Like, I love making sure that, you know, we represent LGBT people in every single issue, not like, look at this, it's a story about LGBT, right. But there'll be a question in the sex Q&A from, like, a girl who's dating a girl. It's just something that we can do to change people's points of view and change, you know, somebody in middle America might not know, right. You know, some of these people's stories, and it's something that I can do and that we can do that we're really passionate about, is put them in a
And did you win a GLAAD award for that?
We did. We won our first GLAAD award in 2016, a few weeks ago, for best overall, I hope I'm getting this right, magazine coverage.
Even if you didn't, that's amazing.
And it's Cosmo that won that.
Awesome.
So we're very proud.
Good for you. That's fantastic.
We're super proud of that.
So, you work in a world where it's all magazines and everyone does magazines, and you talk to people about magazines, but for people that don't know, like, talk me through it. So you all sit down on, like, a Monday and you're like, what's going to be in our next issue? What are the topics people are talking about? Do you have people write in? Like, I know how TV works. But talk to me about, like,
we
what
have
you do.
A lot of that. We do have a Monday morning meeting, but it's not as interesting as what you just described. But we do have those ideas meetings where it's like, all right, what's going on in our lives? Like, what are our friends dealing with? Right. What are you guys talking about with your friends at brunch or drinks? Like, what is happening? And I also host reader nights, which are, we invite like 10 women who read Cosmo, or, you know, sometimes read Cosmo, to the office. We drink champagne, we eat dinner, like, they get a swag bag, and they talk about
just not check my mail,
their sex and dating lives, and it's the best
spam, maybe went to spam.
You're coming to the next one.
Thank you. That's a great idea. Yeah. But it also gives you, like, good analytics, good data, good feedback,
It's a gold mine for story ideas.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, but we're always out in the world. You know, we're not. If you're a magazine editor and you're sort of chained to your desk and just working all the time, you don't get the buzz that's happening around in the world. You really have to be out there and sort of like, what are the trends in dating? What are the trends in friendship? What are people thinking about and caring about right now? And it's just so fun to be, like, in that world and part of that.
It's really great. Yeah. It's really great. And then on top of this, you also started this underrated, you call it a viral blog?
It's an email newsletter. It's going viral.
I called it a viral blog.
I say it's going viral, but a lot of people are sharing it, which is great. So Underrated is
sorry about that.
No, it's a newsletter, and a website's coming this summer. It's UNDRR rather than underrated.com, and it's me asking interesting creatives whose taste I admire to tell me their secrets of, like, what are the culture and food and style things that they really actually truly love. And it sort of came from, so I've been a magazine editor for years, and
you said
2 years now, a lot longer than that. But my favorite things are never the things on the best of lists. Yeah. Like, it's easy to find out what's hot and trendy and what you have to stand in lines for in the meatpacking district, but I don't really care about that. I care about what's good.
Yeah.
And all of my favorite things have come from word of mouth, from people I work with or know or I'm friends with who are cooler than me. So I wanted to sort of expand that chain of discovery, because it is actually hard. I mean, you can go on Yelp, but there's so many voices, and I don't know Donna B from Staten Island, and I don't know if she shares the same restaurant tastes as I do.
Right.
And there's blogs for just food or just fashion or just beauty.
There's so many.
There's so many lifestyle blogs. And then my favorite thing is when I read the celebrity cover story or a celebrity interview to, like, zero in on, like, where they like to eat and, like, what's in their bag and all that stuff. But a lot of those what's in their bag features, or, you know, when we see a celebrity on Instagram with holding up a product, we know that it's a paid endorsement.
Right.
And I'm not as interested in that. Like, I know as a magazine editor that a lot of those things are kind of ads or paid endorsements, and I just wanted, like, what do you authentically like? What are you obsessed with?
What do you like? What do you use? What do you eat? Where do you go? Where do you shop? What do you eat? Yeah.
And I couldn't find a place like that, so I just decided to
start do it yourself.
Yeah, so every week, now it's actually going up to twice a week, I'm releasing this newsletter where I ask another cool new person every week. So last week it was Esperanza Spalding, who is this amazing jazz singer and songwriter who's performed at the White House. She actually beat out Justin Bieber for the Best New Artist Grammy. And she, like... so, and her finds were just like, I really legitimately went out and bought this Kiehl's beauty product that she recommended because of what she said about it.
I'm not kidding. So I read it, and believe me, I pride myself on doing less than no research ever, but I read this newsletter, and every single item that I read, I actually marked down. I was like, well, this is the only one I want. Let me write it down. I wrote down every single one, from what she read to what she ate to where she liked to go to where she
I love that.
likes to travel to that little B&B in D.C.
Yes.
See, I actually did read it.
You totally read it.
I
That's
totally
crazy.
read it. But it's because I loved it so much.
Yeah.
The way she wrote about it, the way she described it, the way she talked about it.
She tells a story about, and it's bite-sized. You don't have to read a lot. It
Right.
just comes to your inbox. You can read it in one swoop. Remember the things you want, and then you know, delete it or whatever and wait for the next one. But the stories that people tell about the things that they love tell us so much about them.
Sure.
And I feel like a lot of the celeb type people who do it, they love it because it's just about positivity, and I'm not prying into their personal lives.
Right.
It's just about like
no scandal, no gossip.
Exactly. It's not like, who are you dating? What do you like?
Right.
You know, it's more about like, what are you obsessed with? And they love, like, people, turns out, like, throwing some good karma to deserving corners of the world.
Yeah.
You know? But the interesting thing is how much people interact with it, and like, people have asked me for my own recommend. They're like, well, you're putting this together. Are you going to start putting your things you like? So I started including a founder's find in each newsletter. And last week, my founder's find was a very weird sleep hack. And people wrote me, so what it was...
This is the blanket.
This is the blanket.
Yeah.
So sometimes when I'm really stressed out or my mind is spinning with ideas, I have a hard time sleeping, and this is embarrassing, without like the weight of my boyfriend's arm draped over me.
She has a boyfriend, so I don't know if you picked up on that. Go on. I'm translating English to English.
Yes, long-term boyfriend.
Right.
So,
which makes sense. Some people like the comfort of having someone just hold them or an arm
or
around them,
like
or the weight of it.
have two comforters rather than one. Obviously, that is not a fair thing to request every single night.
Right, or two boyfriends, whatever it is, four arms.
Yes. Well, he's joked about like replicating the arm and selling it at Bed Bath & Beyond. And you see like all the girls like in you know,
Shark Tank next week.
Shark Tank, the arm.
Yeah.
He's going to be very happy that I told his
Yep.
horrible idea. Anyway, I did some research and I found this thing called a weighted blanket, and it's just like a regular blanket, but it's got like Beanie Baby like pellets sewn into it, which gives it a heft, and it's like 20 pounds or 16 pounds, so it's pretty heavy, but when it's spread on you, it's just like a light pressure.
Yeah.
And it's been proven to help people with sensory processing issues or kids with autism.
Wow.
But it's also been proven to calm people. It's also been proven to work for anyone with like any kind of generalized anxiety or trouble sleeping, which is basically everyone.
Yep.
And I had a hunch that it was gonna go mainstream because everyone has these issues.
Same thing.
So I called this company called Magic Weighted Blanket. I'm not being paid by them or anyone for this newsletter. That's also a rule. There's no paid endorsements. That the people I feature, everything has to be real. But so I called one in, and I've been obsessed with it and using it, and it completely helps me fall asleep. I don't even have to think about it. If I put it on, I'm like instantly asleep. So that was my weird sleep hack founder's find, and so many people wrote me and were like, I need this in my life.
I'm sure.
It's such a weird, I didn't think anyone would care about that.
Yeah.
They would think it was very odd. But that's the kind of stuff that I love. Like, I love hearing, like, your hacks. Like, what do you do that I can try?
Right.
Like, this isn't working for me, so, like, what's your solution for
Because
it?
that's the best way to share information. It's just
totally
tell me
word of
what
mouth.
you do that works for you,
Exactly.
not someone selling me a product.
Exactly. Word of mouth.
Right.
Totally. And so those have been taking off. Like, this yesterday's edition, my founder's find was this a Cosmo Beauty editor. I was complaining to her about drugstore loofahs and how they were horrible at exfoliating. So she gave me this special loofah based on Korean scrub. So it's not gentle, and you actually like see your dead skin rub off, which is disgusting, but also very satisfying. And it actually totally works for rough patches and bumps and whatever. So it's beauty stuff, it's restaurants, it's, you know, decor, culture, books, poets.
It's everything.
It's everything.
That's awesome.
It's a hodgepodge. The only thing is that you have to think it's underrated or under the radar.
Yeah.
Everybody loves an underdog.
Sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. Is it associated with this at all, or no?
No, it's my
Just your
own
own
thing.
thing.
Yes, it's a side hustle, I like to say. And I was
I like
just
that.
on a Cosmo Happy Hour podcast, which is cosmopolitan.com's amazing podcast, about side hustles with 2 other women who are doing it. And I really think that there's this movement bubbling up of women with side hustles. It used to be like startups.
Right.
And now it's like side hustles.
I like that.
Yeah, like you have a job. I happen to really love my job. And I'm so lucky that my boss is really supportive of the side
And then you
hustle.
can kind of do this thing on the side.
And I can do this thing on the side, but also like the people I meet from it, it brings like really good energy back to my job, and I get ideas for my full-time job, so it's all kind of symbiotic.
So you seem really positive and really happy. Like what brings you down? Like what do you struggle with? Because it seems like you got these 2 boyfriends that hold you at night. You have this like amazing job. You have like this awesome website, blog, letter that has gone completely viral and will after this.
And I'm coming for you next, by the way.
And she's coming for me next, by the way. Recommendations.
Wait for it. I know that they're going to be amazing.
There's going to be, they're beyond amazing. Doesn't even.
I personally am dying to read them. I want all. So
just
you
dying
asked.
to slow down.
I'm dying to slow death to read them.
Yes.
So you asked what brings me down. I love this, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. Oh, this is my finder's fee of favorite things on Finder's Find.
I found
my
it.
wrist.
You
You
found
found
it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to steal that now. Done. So I have, and this, I have a really hard time getting myself to work out.
Oh,
it is so hard for me.
To say you came to the right place would be an understatement.
And that's my dirty little secret. I have been a shameful, lazy blob for the past several months now.
Lazy blob. Can you
okay, here's the thing. It's work. Like, I know I don't have weight to lose, but I could tighten.
Sure.
And because it's not like, oh my God, like my health is in danger.
Yeah.
I'm not motivated.
There's no real rush to go. Yep, I hear
but
that.
But there is when I look in the mirror and I'm like, this muffin top's gotta go.
It's gotta get going. I hear that.
So I would love your advice for the motivation aspect.
Absolutely.
How do you get there?
It's the same way you start with anything, right?
Yeah.
So you have to acknowledge that the first few days and the first few weeks, or like when you quit smoking, or when you learn how to play guitar, or when you learn how to speak Italian, right? You're going to be rusty and terrible at it, and you're going to make mistakes, and you're going to fail and fail and fail and fail, and eventually your body's going to be like, so we're doing this is what we're doing? Fine, I'll get on board with this. But I think what a lot of people think is if they go to the gym one day, or they work out one day, or take one class, they don't see results, and they don't see results, and they don't fall in love with it, they're out. Yeah. But if I picked up a guitar for the first time ever, after the first day, and I'm like, well, I can't play any Bruce Springsteen. I'm terrible at this. We would never learn any skills. We'd be a bunch of blobs sitting in like a small room, right? Yes. So you have to give it, it's like a new skill, and you have to give it a chance like anything else, and your body will catch up to what your mind wants it to do.
Okay, I have another hack question for you.
Go.
So I don't hate working out. I actually hate like doing cardio. My only kind of cardio that I like is trampoline cardio.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing. I actually do have a mini trampoline. Of course, I just never dig it out and there's a really great studio in Tribeca that you've probably been to.
Just does, yes.
They do other kinds of classes, but they do these amazing balance classes that I love and need to get back into right now. This is inspiring me, actually.
No, but you should go and just buy it. Because once you pay money for it,
no, I haven't. It's hard. It just sits under the bed. I thought that would work, and it has, and it's just about like starting up again. But when I start up and I'm doing it regularly and I'm feeling great, and then I'm like, oh shoot, like now I have to like up my intensity and do it even harder, and then I'm just like, I'm out.
You're out. So
do you know that? Do other people have that?
Of course,
like, but oh my God, you planned it, like what?
No. First of all, I'll go back for 1 second and just say, people say, well, what's the best workout to do, or what should I do? Or, you know what you should do? Whatever the hell you like to do is the thing you need to do. Right. So you like trampolines? Fine. Then we'll just make that more challenging eventually. Yeah. But for you to get back into it, don't take 3 weeks and then be like, well, I need to make this harder. Go for like 3 months. Yeah. And if you want to mix it up, mix it up. If not,
I think mixing it up is such a great call too.
But there's so many, and you know that from
I do. There's so many
million
studios.
I
see you on Twitter going to all of them. I'm jealous.
Yes.
I want to do it too.
Come with me. We will go visit every single one. I will do a whole thing for you in here, and we'll say what the best thing is, like whoever you are, what your body type is, like what your mindset is, what you do for a living. These are the best gyms
and
for
you're a certified trainer.
Yeah, and I also do that, and I train people on the side because For some people, that the group environment is the best environment for them, and for some people, they really want that like one-on-one is kind of like therapy. Now, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
As someone who you've never been asked this, and this has probably never been asked ever.
Oh God.
But as someone who, it's such a stupid question.
Now.
No, don't be. What is the proper way to dive into something like this? Because let me show you mine. Pick it up, read, start from the back, flip, see if anything catches my eye, read for a little bit, close it, never see the first 20 pages because there's always one of these things that come in it. Yeah. Talk to me. How do you, when you guys write a magazine, do you write it thinking people are going to go like this, each page by page?
No.
Have you ever been asked that question before?
No. That's a great question, actually.
Yeah.
I would say everyone has their own way of reading.
Oh, Marina,
I do,
really?
Similar to what you do. I don't know. I actually think probably nobody starts from
unless you're getting a pedicure.
Unless you're getting a pedicure. But even then, you're going to, like, open it to whatever page. And you're going to be like, oh, does this catch my interest or not? And then you're going to flip, and then you're going to flip, you know, and I'm just like, ooh, I want to read this story.
They should laminate the pages to make it easier to flip back and forth so you get everything.
Totally. I love this story, by the way. I edited.
You edited this?
Yes, yes. Do you know Jenna Mullen? She is she's a really hilarious author who has a book called Live Fast, Die Hot out right now, and she's a comedian too. And she's married to the actor Jason Biggs, and she's really good friends with Chelsea Handler. She's a funny person and surrounds herself with funny people. And she wrote this book, Live Fast, Die Hot, that's really funny. But this piece is about why we can't unfollow our exes, and she has a really funny story. She tells about how she like looks up an ex for no reason, and she's like, "Why am I
do that?
Calling this ex of mine right now? I'm married. I have a kid. Like, what is wrong with me?" And she finds some really interesting insights. So I'm like, "Oh,
I love
I'm
that.
Still like a reader. I flipped through it. I'm like, oh, I edited that, but I still want to read it."
That's awesome. Oh, I love that.
There's no right way to read.
There's no right way to read. Okay, I think that's good.
Just like there's no one fitness thing that works for everyone.
Correct. See, that's a good point. You actually make a very good point. So I will do this. I will dive in head first. I will get through everything because generally I have the attention span of a loofah sponge. So I will read through everything and give it a shot. If you promise me you will go take the barre class downtown. Yes. Get back into it. Dive in head first.
I'm going to.
You know, bruise your face.
I might do a few embarrassing workout sessions by myself at home.
That's fine.
With some videos.
Totally okay with that.
And then
I embrace it.
But I'm going to do it. I'm feeling this. You're really inspiring me to work out. And I knew that this would happen. Like, I had a feeling.
Yeah.
I don't even think I believe in psychics, but a psychic once told me I was a little psychic. So I was like coming in here being like, this is it. Like, Jenna is going to inspire me.
I'm bringing you back. We are going to brush the dust off the trampoline onto your bed.
Blob
I won't say shameful or blob, but in the same way you're bringing me back to read again. Because seriously, if it's like not 140 characters, I'm like, what do they expect me to read all of this? That's never going to happen.
Well, you have to come up with all your favorite things that you love that you talk to your friends about and tell me all of them, and I'll put it in the next underrated newsletter.
So we've got homework to do is what's going on here. Like you came here to hang out with me, and I'm actually sending you off with homework.
Yes,
so,
but I'm sending you off with homework.
It's great homework, and I'm going to do it. I do want perfect skin, gorgeous hair with zero effort. Like I want that, right? I need that. That's right. Who doesn't? Cool. Anyway, well, thank you so much. This is so interesting, and I'm really excited about sort of diving back into the magazine world because I got out of it for a little bit, you know, after Bop and Tiger Beat. I was like, I'm going to take a break for 30 years, and then I'll be right back.
Or 2 in time, so you have to take a break.
It's perfect. You're so interesting, and you're so cool, and you're so young, and you've done so much, and I'm excited to see what the next big thing is for you. Check out Underrated. Spell it again.
UNDRRATED.
Underrated.com, and they can just sign up for it. And, they can
it's in the tweet.
Oh, and it's on the top of the Twitter here. So definitely check it out. Trust me, I find nothing interesting. That was so interesting, and I'm excited for the next one.
Thank you.
And Marina, I really appreciate it, and we'll talk along the way.
This was so much fun. I love that you're doing this.
Yes.
Interesting people talking about interesting things is...
What's better?
What's better?
Exactly. And I have no shoes on, so something I thought I would add. Okay, we'll see you guys in a little bit.